I just saw, I put up my Chase thing, I put up the documents of the phone timestamps and whatnot as proof that the phone calls were made, since everybody's like, well, how do I know that that wasn't just like, because it's real, and it's time-stamped and proven, depending on what level of service you are aware of on how time and space works. I don't know. Do things happen like right in the know, KNOW, or does it happen before and after? Kind of depends. So I saw that Gavin Newsome, GAVIN NEWSOME, was just something sentenced. I don't know how they work the policing of the governors. GOV ERNORS. He's the governor of California, CALIFORNIA. There's another gentleman who I'm friends with on Facebook. He put it up there, saying that that's something with a Chinese takeover. Apparently California's bankrupt. I have no idea. BANKRUPT. The reason why the U.S. Steel, U.S.STEELE contract was awarded to the Monopoly, MONOPOLY, back in the day, made a lot of news headlines, and I know that then it made U.S. Congress at some point. I don't know why they were upset. I know they did something with blockbusting and whatnot, but the original intent was to privately fund America by having products made in the USA with U.S. steel. So it was a self-funded 50 postage stamps from coast to coast without having to have reliance on foreign kingdom and partnerships and dangerous with foreign takeovers and then a toehold, TOEHOLD. You don't want to give somebody you can't vet or verify overseas a toe in your country, your government, your children, your future. So in order to protect the U.S. American citizens, there was something under the Illuminati, I don't know how that works, ILLUMANITI, where they set up the monopoly for the Americans to all house and hold and take care of one another inside of America. So I don't understand where all that money went and why it was shipped elsewhere, or why then J.P. Morgan allowed an international arm of a non-approved whatever, based on his original charter, his allowance to be brought into this kind of, I mean, it's someone else is giving you an opportunity to make you a self-made millionaire, but billionaire in the living estate of the United States of America and the government and governance of the coast to coast, and keeping a tight watch on your people. It was a big responsibility. It was a big document, and it was a big gift. But it was not a gift like just to one man, but there has to be one face on the front of at the time. And there actually should be several on the whatever, under the Illuminati, the private partnership of making sure the fund, it's like an internal oversight committee to make sure of different private partners with their own self-interest. I mean, I used to call them the HAJBENAROS, HABJERNOS, because they're the hotheads, but they're the good hotheads. They get really mad when they know somebody's up to no good. They have all the proof, the evidence, they might not be able to show you, but when they get really mad because you're challenging them, you understand? There are some things in this world that you're not allowed to see or to know to keep the children, the government, the everybody safe from harm. We used to call it like, I'll have to go run that up the flagpole. I know who's at the top in the eagle's nest. I can't let you know, but between the habaneros and the 7 holy men and 7 deadly sinners, somewhere in that Bermuda Triangle, to keep it short, that's where Bermuda short came from. Give me the Bermuda short. I know things get lost in translation. I need to know what you know, who is involved, what I have to document, and who I need to see. It used to be that easy in order to have a conversation with everybody and make sure that everybody was taken care of and that things didn't grow sideways or dangerous for the people that actually lead and are trying to keep a close watch and not allow all of this interference, which we used to call interferons, Interfereons, which we knew who the main culprit was going to be once you guys put everything from steel into plastics, and then you started carting over Japanese steel and whatever, and put all the U.S. guys out of business, however you got that accomplished. You didn't have any kingdom approval, I'll tell you that much. You have to have at least 2/3 of the holy men in Rome, being the papal state, PAPALSTATE, which is supposed to watch out for the top of the flagpole that everything has to be run around. So this way you have men you can trust that are not influenced by money, greed, or outside influence or population. And they're in a closed set, so it's almost like they live in their own beautiful, magical kingdom of heaven where everything works right. And usually when you talk to those men, you have to explain to them how criminals think and why you're encountering a problem, because normal holy men and true altruistic people are not built as criminals. But things happen, and then they have to document what they know. Then there has to be the protest kingdom, which I call the Elizabethan whatever, because she still didn't do anything. Here's the thing, United States Steel Corporation and Mickey Mouse Sticker Club on their side, they knew of the problem with on the way in. There were certain terms and conditions that were made to protect the country, being the United States of America, and the new royal that was going to enter. I think at some point it was olive oil or olive branch, OLIVEBRANCH, and OIL for OLIVE. I don't know why the family wasn't taken care of, but that's a true indication to enemies elsewhere that know that there's already a crack in the foundation of your security, because nobody in the Bermuda Short Triangle is working together properly in habaneros, holy men, and like the actual real world of what's going on. Regardless of how we know, here's what it is. It is what it is. So, when does this get fixed, and how does one find somebody who knows enough to run it up their own flagpole, or to come help the 2 eagle's nest eggs that are the ones that everything... I mean, if the planet is like a gigantic eyeball and a living organ, and it watches over a centerpiece, being a man and a woman, we gave you an Adam and an Eve. I'm sure there are other characters throughout history that are non-Christian. If there's a man and a woman for anatomical fluidity and fluency, and then the planet is a living organ, being air, wind, fire, whatever, and it watches over them and their ability to remain together, and in part of the helpful part of the Bermuda Short, being wholly hot-headed and real world to try to keep everything tight and everybody from being taken advantage of, then the organ and the quantum string part, when you break the, say, female out of the eagle's nest and leave her on the floor, because I don't know how the male side's doing. I don't know if he's still in the eagle's nest, but if you have one egg in the eagle's nest and you've got one of the eggs cracked like Humpty Dumpty on the floor, who's going to put Humpty Dumpty back together again? I thought it was supposed to be all the king's men. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Something, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. Why couldn't the king's men pick the broken Humpty Dumpty off the floor and put it back, even with a cracked shell, where it belonged with the other egg, in the extra specialness of being at the top of the flagpole or just below the flagpole, to know what king's men are equal to which king's men, to keep the two eggs over their heads. I mean, that's what you're keeping safe at the top of the flagpole, is a nest with two eagle's eggs. Whatever color they are, it doesn't matter. They used to say gold, but I don't want anybody to get any fancy, crazy ideas about stealing stuff from one another. So they're just regular old eagle's eggs of importance. At the bottom, just below the flagpole, there's a ring of king's men that all come from different lands, but look like they could be brothers, to protect the two eggs at the top, and whatever life has in store for them it's none of the other land's concerns. And then there's some holy men, which happen to be organized in a papal state and a governance all unto itself, and a very private law council, I would say, of Christian men, although there are others that come in and counsel, so I believe it goes, because the Holy Roman Catholics, for the Caesar and the living estate of Caesar, was supposed to take counsel with the Holy, I don't know if you call it, we always called it the Greek Empire. Jerusalem, though, should be part of that. It's really anybody who partakes in the Torah, but could be brothers if they weren't practicing Torah and they were practicing Christian, and you'd have no idea by meeting them face to face that they practice different religions, and it doesn't really matter. It only matters so there's a variety of perspective from everybody being represented. So, and you only need two of those, one being the Holy Father and Catholic Padre, which is Padre, but for Americas, we call it the Pope, Pope. He has his bishops and cardinals, Cardinals and Bishops, in his diocese, Diocese. That's as much as I know. There's a Council of Nicaea that's really important when there's something worldly that needs to be discussed privately, without interference or without worry about being overheard, overseen, overspoken, and with non-habaneros, because they're expected to be holy men, although tempers do flare when you have a large group of men, understood. So there's that, and then there's the military aspect that then they counsel with, that is hopefully respectful of, and if there's something that they are missing in their Bermuda short, of churchly men, of not being informed about just how bad the criminals are, that the military men can verify, then they inform them. And likewise, in private counsel.